Today's episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by our partners in the field, Federal Premium Ammunition, Benelli Shotguns, and Carlson Choke Tubes, the 1-2-3 punch that we take with us on every hunt in the uplands. Today's guest is a man that I think almost every bird hunter wishes they could be. Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. My name is Travis Frank. I am one of the co-hosts of our upland bird hunting television show called The Flush. It airs on the Outdoor Channel. And now I am your host for this upland bird hunting podcast. Today, I get to sit next to a man that I met a couple years ago in the field. And I have come to realize that you're the person every bird hunter wishes that they could be. Tyler Webster, welcome to our Flush Podcast. I appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thank you very much, man, for having me. I've been a fan of the show for a long time, and I'm glad you guys are getting into the podcast world. We need more good ones out there.
Well, it's new to me, so I'm doing my best. I'm learning as we go. But what I really find interesting is that I get to talk to people like you. We've done this in the field before. I mean, we spend days together in the field. We filmed a television show together 2 years ago.
Yep.
We filmed one again this past fall.
Yep.
It's still sitting in our edit bay right now.
I can't wait to see it.
Nobody's seen it. I can't wait to either. That was probably one of the best days I had in the field this entire year. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah,
and
it was a good one.
There'll be more on that coming up. But right off the bat, Tyler, I got to know, how many days did you spend hunting in the field this year?
I knew that was coming. 124 days.
124 days out of a possible...
I don't even know. I think I only missed... we had a blizzard in North Dakota, opening day of pheasant season, mid-October, and I was hunting that day even. So, and when I say 124 days, I'm not talking about full days. I live in bird country. So... Even though most people would disagree about the fact that I don't work at all, I do a little bit, as very little as possible.
That is where I come up with you're the person that everybody wishes.
Yeah. So from the 1st of September and actually the 15th of August, our early goose season started the 15th of August. I got a couple days in doing that, and I didn't work at all in September. I worked a day in October and like 5 days in November, and I still hunted most of those days too.
But you're still collecting a paycheck. How do you do it?
Well, I figured out a way to work with it. I'm a government contractor. I have a couple of mail contracts out in North Dakota and bird country. In fact, I live on one of them. I would be my own mailman. But so I hire a couple of other people to subcontract for me. So they're out there right now while you and I are sitting here drinking coffee and talking on the podcast. They're out there making me money.
Oh, gosh.
I got lucky.
Genius. Pure genius. Well, where do you live?
I live in northwest North Dakota. Stanley, North Dakota is home. Just outside Stanley. I have a little farm out there, about 15 acres. And my closest neighbor's a mile away. So where I live, I'm pretty fortunate, and I can literally walk out my back door and I can chase huns, pheasants, and sharptails without having to drive anywhere.
Oh man. When you reached out to me a couple years ago, so we get a lot of viewers that say, "Hey, do you ever want to come out hunting? Just let me know."
Right.
And I honestly respond to every one of them. I say, "Yeah. We're always looking for our next adventure and great people to hunt with, to tell their stories. Can you tell me yours?" Yeah. And I think I did something similar to that. Yeah. And you came back with, "Well, here's what I do. Yeah. I'm a mailman. I drive back roads every day. I hunt public land. I hunt, X amount of days a year. Yeah. And here are the birds that we have." And so I
think I had you at Huns.
You had me at Huns. Yes, my heart just started. Oh, I love that bird.
Oh, they're so much fun.
And the thing about the Hungarian partridge right now up in North Dakota is, as I got to experience with you, I mean, I have been hunting in North Dakota almost my entire life. Mm-hmm. So there's just, when I have the chance to go there, I'm always looking for a reason, and then, I'll do it. Okay, let's go.
Right.
But just the rebound up there.
Well, I have a little bit of a weird theory, and there's no way to prove it. I have there's no evidence, but anecdotal evidence, I think the oil field in some ways actually probably helped the Hungarian partridge in the fact that now the farmers can afford to leave some of that non-productive edge habitat. They're not farming edge to edge anymore. And as anybody who knows anything about Hungarian partridge will tell you, that's what they need. They need the weed patches and the edges and the fence rows and just brushy draws. And this is habitat that's not good for anything else anyways. But when farm prices were low in the 90s, you've seen a lot more of that getting plowed under and a lot more farmers trying to get it to go. And now in western North Dakota with the oil boom, it's kind of it's weird bedfellows, but it really does seem that once the oil boom started getting bigger and bigger in like 2007-8, we started seeing more Huns around. Yeah, it's the only thing that makes sense to me because our weather hasn't changed. Right? Yeah, our weather hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So.
Well, okay, so we spent 3 days together hunting. We hunted your family property.
Yep.
And then we hunted just other pieces of property that anybody could go and hunt.
Yeah.
And that's so I grew up hunting in North Dakota. It was a trip that I took with some buddies starting in high school through college. After college, we would go and we would do waterfowl hunting in the morning, and then we would throw some orange on and we'd walk for pheasants and sharpies, and we were a little bit further east, so we were kind of in that hour east of Bismarck area.
Down the Linton-ish.
Yeah, and you're west of there and north of there, and it seems like that's kind of been, I mean, not to send everybody up your direction.
Oh, that's fine. I do a pretty good job of that myself.
You do.
I'm not great about hiding my spots, and I have a lot of people reach out to me through my podcast, and they're always like, hey, you're going to ruin this for everybody. It's like, I have hundreds and hundreds of spots. There's no way.
That's what a mailman can do.
Right. I mean, I have literally 140 farmers on each one of my mail routes. I have 2 of them, and I'm running them pretty hard in July. I'm out there like, hey, keep an eye out for some birds here and let me know if it's all right if I go chase them.
So how does that go? I mean, you're driving the mail truck in the summer and you're talking to these farmers. You're watching out there in the fields. You're seeing the birds on the gravel roads.
I'm on Onyx all the time.
All the time. I bet. How many pins have you dropped?
Oh, hundreds and hundreds. Any place. And so there's 2 times of the year that I really want to run mail routes. One of them is going to be when I get back from here because the Huns are going to be paired up. Okay. So late February, early March, those Huns are paired up. And any place I see a pair of Huns, dropping a pin. There's going to be a covey there someplace in the fall. And so I have kind of weird rules, and the older I get, the more rules I make up for myself, but I don't like hunting the same covey more than once. So like if I have these 2 mail routes, they literally touch each other. And so I have like 300 square miles of country out there. So any place I see a pair, I'm dropping a pin, and I'm hunting individual coveys. Last year, I'm on my mail route in February and March. I think I dropped 167 pins just for Huns.
Wow!
So 167 pairs, and I think I only got to hunt about 45 or 50 of those coveys this year.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I know. Well, my best hunt spot, Trav. So that spot that we filmed last year, the one where we were just literally just covey of Huns, covey of Huns, covey of Huns, the one where Luke made the really cool retrieve, that never got harvested this year. That standing canola. There was what, 12 coveys of Huns in a section there. Yeah. And they never got hunted. Nobody was able to hunt them this year.
Wow.
And so who knows?
Are those
what's
crops
there.
still standing out there?
Yeah.
So
they won't. Yeah. There's no snow in western North Dakota right now either. None.
Really?
Yeah. I can still see my grass.
Are you kidding me right now? I mean, you see the snowdrifts outside. We're in central Minnesota right now.
Right.
And we've got snowdrifts outside of our building that are roughly like 8-10 feet tall. Yeah. I mean, they're obviously plowed up, but we've got a heavy snowpack here.
We might have 2 or 3 inches of snow in most fields. Fields are still open.
So there's a lot of optimism for this coming season. That's exciting. Yeah. Oh, that's exciting.
But well, you talked a little bit about the difference between where you guys were hunting though in North Dakota and where I'm at. They really kind of messed up when they made North and South Dakota. They should have made Eastern Dakota and Western Dakota because it's totally different.
Right. Yep.
And you can draw a line straight down the middle of both states, and everything on the east is a lot flatter, more potholy, and then everything to the west is a lot more breaks, hills, river bottom, and so where you guys were at over there in the southeast, that place has the potential of being really good if everything works out right, but they get more snow than we do.
Yeah.
And it does seem to affect the birds a little bit. So it seems like the farther west in North Dakota you go, you run into a little bit better bird hunting, it seems.
Well, it's interesting because we do have a lot of viewers that reach out and they say, hey, I'm trying to plan a hunt with my buddies. Where should I go?
Yeah.
And I do mention North Dakota a lot because I have so much personal experience there, and just the amount of birds and the amount of opportunity. I mean, North Dakota is very unique in that you can get in a truck, you can drive around, and legally, if it's not posted, you can walk out in that field and hunt. And so we always would do our best to knock on doors, even if it's said that if there was no sign saying that we couldn't hunt it, we would still, just the common courtesy, I think we owe that to anybody who owns land, but you don't have to do that, is what I'm saying. And so there's a lot more opportunity up there, and there's a lot of birds.
Specifically for waterfowl hunters.
Yeah.
Because everybody knows how much ducks and geese move around from day to day. So a person can get out there and spend a little bit of time driving around, putting in some windshield time, and you're going to see these fields covered up with ducks and geese. And if it's not posted, you can be there the next morning, whether it's, if you can't find a landowner, which does happen sometimes.
Right.
And more nowadays than when I was younger, because everything's gotten so much bigger now. The farms are enormous. 10, 20,000 acres isn't uncommon. And a lot of it is in, like, if you look at Onyx, where the landowner layer would be, a lot of it's in like LLCs and corps, and you can't figure out who owns it.
Yeah.
So, you can still knock on a few doors, but if you can't find somebody, you can still go hunt those birds. And usually it seems like nobody really cares about bird hunting. Like pheasants and deer, okay?
Yeah, pheasants. I think deer's number one.
Pheasants
would be number two.
Nobody cares about sharptails and huns at all.
Yeah, and if you want to shoot a goose, come on out.
Please,
Yeah, exactly. They all want them taken out. Let's just go way back in history. When was the first time you remember going on a bird hunt, a pheasant hunt, or hunting at all?
Well, so I started really young. My grandpa was a huge outdoorsman. We trapped a lot. He loved bird hunting. He never really was much of a deer hunter, funny enough. I don't know what
Usually
it was.
It goes the other way around.
Yeah. He would walk miles for a sharp-tailed grouse, but he would drive past the biggest whitetail you ever see, and he just didn't care about him at all.
Really?
But so I started going along trapping with him 4 or 5 years old, and I was actually walking with the adults carrying a shotgun at 8.
Wow.
So I'm 36 now, so 26 years or whatever. I've been hunting 28 years, a long time, the huge majority of my life. And we went all the time. He was a teacher. He worked weekends sometimes, but every Sunday was our day to go hunting. I don't think from the time I was 8 until the time I was 20, I don't think we missed a day.
Really?
I don't think we missed a Sunday.
Gotcha. Did you hunt? Did your dad hunt?
My dad was more of a fisherman.
Okay.
And he was, he worked a lot, and he ran a construction company, and he just never really, fall was so busy, and during the summertime, we'd make a little bit more time to go down to the lake on the weekends, but not really.
Yeah. Who do you hunt with today?
Everybody. People like you. I have a lot of listeners for my podcast. I've made some really incredible friends in the last few years. In fact, one of them's out in the lobby who's going to be on the next show. Just people from all over the place. So most of my friends that I hunted with in North Dakota, now they either have families, full-time jobs. Like, to say that they can't hunt on the same level I do would be very generous.
Yeah.
So I have to try to import people. I have to have people, and I hunt a lot by myself. Me and my dogs hunt, like I said, every day. But when I can get somebody else out there to spend some time with, because bird hunting is such a social activity.
It is.
Walking along with somebody and actually just talking is just as much fun as actually hunting birds. To me, watching the dogs and just talking with a buddy, it doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah.
So when I started listening to my buddy Ron's podcast about 5 years ago, right after he started, and I reached out to some of his friends that they make a yearly trip to Linton, where you were just talking about, and they were wanting to get more into sharptail hunting, and I just sent him a message on Facebook. I said, if you guys want to come do some sharptail hunting, give me a call and swing up for a day. They stayed for 3. And then the next year, they didn't even go back to Linton. They just came up, and it's not even because the bird hunting's better up there. It's just because we just clicked instantly.
Yeah.
And so I was the youngest guy then. I mean, obviously still the youngest guy now, but it went from literally from 70 years old to 35 years old and everything in between, and everybody from a contract mail driver to lawyers to accountants to, I mean, everything, in all different walks of life, all different ages of people. And we just absolutely got along perfectly.
Isn't it amazing when everybody in the different, right now they might be sitting in their cubicle or they might be on the road and all different walks of life. But once you step out in the field together, it's like you're all in the same playing field.
Yeah, it's all equal at that point. The only thing that we get to judge then is your shooting and your dogs.
And I've seen your shooting and I've seen your dogs, and on a scale of 1 to 10, both of them are at a 10.
Yeah, I got pretty lucky with the dogs. The shooting came from my grandfather, actually. He made me carry around a single shot 20 gauge for the first 2 years I hunted, and he's like, "You're going to get good at this."
I like that idea.
It's a great idea,
Wow.
except there's not a more dangerous gun ever made than a 20 gauge with a hammer, right?
Right.
Like an 8-year-old finger trying to release a hammer. A terrible idea.
Did it ever go off on you?
No, I was always super careful about that. But those guns don't have safeties, or at least they didn't then. The hammer is the safety.
Yeah. Ron Shera, we were talking on a previous show, and he had the same deal where that was his first gun, and he said it went off a couple times, fortunately. I mean, he was really young when he was introduced to it, but our guns today are a little bit safer.
Yes. But I got good at it, and so I remember the walk where everything changed. I could take you right back to the same spot. In fact, we hunted not far from there, and it was there was these old railroad tracks. It kind of made this L. The railroad tracks was straight, but there was a field that kind of came up and ran into them. And this is back in the 90s when the Huns were pretty prevalent, and there was a lot of sharptails. And he sent me out there with 10 shells. And I walked out of that field with 3 sharptails and 5 Huns, and I still had a shell left.
No way.
And that day we went in, we traded that gun in on a pump, but he'd only let me have 2 shells in the gun at one time. And he caught me once with all 3 shells in there, and he made me walk with no shells for the rest of the day.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he's like, "You're not going to waste shells. You're going to get good at this."
Wow.
And so after that, I bumped up to a 12 gauge semi-automatic, and that's what I've shot for years. Now I've actually started downgrading back to a 20 gauge again. But first time I ever went and shot trap, I ran 100 straight. So he did something that worked, I mean, I don't waste shells.
I've hunted with you now a couple different times, and you're as efficient of a shotgunner as I have ever seen.
I get a lot of practice.
Yeah, you do. Well, so I mean, you said 120 some days this year. I want to talk to you about where you hunted, because you've hunted literally from north
from the
North
Canadian
Dakota,
border to the Mexican border.
So we'll get to that in a little bit, but what in the world happened in your life that you said, I want to do this bird hunting, and then I wanted to start a podcast?
Well, so it's kind of funny. So when I first started listening to Ron's podcast, I didn't know what a podcast was. Yep, the Hunting Dog Podcast. Yep. 5 years ago, I didn't know what a podcast was, but I was driving around so much during the day that I needed something to do, and I couldn't listen to radio anymore. It was getting like I just couldn't hear the same songs all day long. And so I just started Googling, and it's like, well, I'll give this a shot. And it was a Hunting Dog Podcast, and immediately I was like, well, this is fun. And so then I sent him an email, because he was just kind of starting out at the same time. And I sent him an email just like I did you, and I was like, kind of told him all about myself and what I hunt. And he's like, "You got to come on the podcast." I'm like, "All right." And we did, and it was so much fun. And then after that, he's like, "You have to start one." Well, I don't know how to do that. And he's like, "No, seriously, I'm 60 years old. If I can do it, you can do it."
Yeah.
And so he kind of kept on after me, and he came up and hunted with me a little bit, and we did a couple more episodes together. And finally, it's been a little over 2.5 years and 140 episodes now I've been going. And it really was kind of a life-changing moment. Not so much financially or anything else, but it really kind of, it just changed my perspective on what it was. I went from the guy who hunted a lot and wanted to go out and kill birds and wanted to have fun to now it's actually kind of helped me mature a little bit in the hunting aspect, where it's more about going out with people you enjoy being with, telling stories, giving each other some crap if they miss a bird flying straight away. I mean, it's really become more about the stories than it has about the hunting itself. Mm-hmm. And so now I've gotten to a point with my job and everything else where I have the freedom of time where most people don't. So I can like just like we're doing right now, podcasts are always best in person, but there's times where it's just not feasible to do everyone in person because people get bored if you're just talking to the same person over and over again, and you can't drive everywhere.
Yep.
But I really decided a couple years ago that I needed to figure out a way to start extending my season, because our season in North Dakota by law closes the first Sunday in January, but there are a lot of years where it's not feasible long before that if we get snowed in.
Oh gosh, I've hunted in.
I remember in 15, 16.
Maybe, but yeah, they had back-to-back 2-foot snowfalls, I believe, or something like that. But the snowdrifts were well over the tops of the fence posts. The cattails disappeared. You didn't even know they existed.
Right.
We were walking above trees. I mean, just crazy stuff. So I get what you're saying.
And that's a really good way to hurt a dog.
Yeah.
A dog can blow an ACL and something like that real quick. In fact, that year I bought snowshoes thinking that was going to be a real. Don't do that. It's
also a good way to lose your hunting buddies.
It really is.
Because if you say, come on, they say, what in the hell are we doing
it's
out
terrible.
here?
Yeah. And so instead of doing that and fighting the elements, I just started kind of following the weather south. And first it was Kansas. And I kind of got that first taste, and in my 20s, I'd get asked a lot, have you ever hunted South Dakota or Montana or anything like that? And I'd always say, why the hell would I hunt there?
Yeah.
I got better hunting there in my backyard than they have down there. And in a lot of cases, that's true. And I knew where I was going out there. But I realized that knowing what I was doing in one spot doesn't make me a good hunter. It makes me lucky.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes me blessed to be living where I live. So first it was Kansas, then it was New Mexico, and now I could just, from December 1st until now, I could just live in Arizona. It's my favorite place in the world.
Isn't that incredible down
God.
there? It's I've been fortunate over the last few years of producing this television show that I've gotten to hunt in some of the most incredible bird hunting habitat in North America, and Arizona's right there up on the list. You just got back from Arizona a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I got back the 26th of January.
Okay.
I was home for a week. I worked every day for a week. I know, poor me.
Oh my gosh.
I get it.
How are you doing with that?
I'll get over it. This last 10-day trip has actually helped me push past my problems there.
Yeah.
But I got back. And I was down there a whole month. Well, I hunted 21 days in Arizona and then drove up to Kansas and actually hunted bobwhites and prairie chickens in Kansas on the way back as well.
Dang. Do you know how many species of birds you harvested this year?
A lot. I let's see. Pheasants, sharptails, huns, prairie chickens, 4 species of quail, 2 species of doves. Who knows how many ducks? Lots. I don't know. 12. 15.
I've lost fingers. We're over 10 for sure.
Yeah. The sandhill cranes. Lots.
Yeah.
Just lots.
Man. So all this time on the road and hunting for different species of birds, like what stands out? Like if I said, hey, Tyler, I want to do this. I want to be you for a season. I'm going to go from Minnesota to North Dakota to Kansas down. I mean, just work my way down. Like, what advice do you have?
That's a great question. So, there are a few things. You can literally hunt the entire way just on private land or just on public land. And there's just tons of resources out there from game and fish surveys on different densities and different places to all these public land maps that are out there now. Onyx I don't even know how I would hunt without Onyx anymore.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
I still have the old road atlas, and my friends call it the Bible.
Yeah, I really should put it up at a Pheasants Forever banquet and auction it off. I bet it would bring a lot of money.
I bet it would
because I got North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Kansas, Nebraska, and it's just kind of that whole section. There's just dots all over that place with little highlighters and but I love it. I love the physical map.
I've got a Minnesota one. I've got a North Dakota. I got a South Dakota, and we would nickname every spot. So
I color coded. With highlighters.
Like when we'd be out and about with buddies, we'd say like, "Hey, we're going to trail tomorrow, 6 a.m." And then there'd be 8 people in the room.
Everybody knows what
only
it is.
2 of us knew what trail meant.
Right.
And so I still have the Bible. Yeah. But anyway, Onyx has changed the game because now you can you know where you know where you stand.
Right.
But you know where you're at. You know where the boundaries are.
You can e-scout. So is what I do when I look. And let's just take Arizona, New Mexico off the table for right now because there's so much public land down there. It's just it's silly. I mean, it's like 60% public in Arizona and New Mexico, but in Kansas is a really good example of this. Where I'll look on Onyx and I'll look for clusters of what's called WEHA land down there, which is the walk-in hunting access program they got, which is a great program.
Yep.
And there's a lot of it. But you don't want to go to an area with just like a piece or two pieces because you can spend a lot of time driving in between those pieces and you don't know what's actually on the ground until you get there. And don't waste your time hunting the spots that don't look good. I mean, like there's some spots you'll go up to and it's going to be like very short cover. Just go find another one. Yeah, I mean, because most people have a very limited time they're going to be able to be there and a limited amount of dog power. And so if you're going to go there and you're going to burn up a dog, you could save that time and go someplace else. Yeah. And even you can't worry about who else is hunted there today. You just can't. It's public land hunting. There's going to be people there. I recommend going during the week. You're going to see a huge difference in hunting pressure. I know when you came up and hunted with me, we hunted during the week. I don't think we've seen another person.
Yeah. We do spend a lot of our time in the field during the week because obviously we have, we're working and we have families and, cameramen want to be home with their families on the weekend too. So it works out that way. But also the bonus there is, we hunt a ton of public land and during the week you just don't see. And that happens from Minnesota to Wisconsin to Montana to Kansas. Yeah, it doesn't matter. People are working. So if you're going to take that time off, maximize your time.
But the biggest thing that people need to understand is that you're not going to go down and knock it out of the park on your first go-around. You're just not. It doesn't matter. If you give yourself 4 or 5 days, it's going to take a couple days to kind of start putting some patterns together. This isn't going to be the same thing that you do at home where you just know where they're going to be if you hunt a lot. In Minnesota and North Dakota, if you're hunting pheasants, you're in or close to cattails. It's different in Kansas, or any place you're going to go. So give yourself a couple days and don't get discouraged. That's going to be the biggest thing, because if you start getting down on yourself and thinking, oh God, we should have went somewhere else, you're done, because you need to be out there and you just need to keep on pushing. And eventually, so Arizona, the first year I went down there, I think we found 2 coveys of Mearns quail in 5 days.
Wow.
The second year we went back, it was multiple times better than that. And this year we went down there, we just smoked them. Like, we knocked it out of the park. But it took 3 years to figure out enough spots to keep on going. And then you kind of have this, even though it's a limited knowledge base, but you see these patterns over and over again, and you start keying in on those spots. And it really doesn't take that long before you can really kind of start eliminating a lot of the ground out there.
Yeah. When I go in the field, we are limited to X amount of days. We might be flying to Idaho or something like that. Like, here's our window. I'm coming home with the television show. So my brain, when we step into the field, like, I am just analyzing everything and watching. And sometimes, guys will be like, well, they should be doing this or that, and I'm watching the dog, and all of a sudden, boom, it goes on point on a rim or, however it might be. And I say, guys, I've watched your dogs. Here's the things that I've seen. Does this make sense to you? And now we can really kind of maximize our time out there in the field. And it changes by weather. It changes by day sometimes.
It changes by hours sometimes.
But paying attention to those details. Doesn't matter what you're hunting for or if you're fishing or whatever it might be, but paying attention to those details. Separate guys that just go spend time in the field and separate people that come home with a bunch of game. Consistently do well.
A lot of the places that we hunt are just so big and so vast that it's impossible to cover it all, especially with 2 or 3 guys like I like to hunt with. I don't like to hunt with a big group of people. I'm not. If I had to march with 8 people in a line across the field, I'd need Xanax. I mean, like, I would start getting stressed out immediately. I don't like being around that many people with guns. I don't like having 7 dogs running around and everybody screaming. It's just too chaotic and it's not fun anymore. So if you're going to hunt a big piece, like in North Dakota, everything's a section or a quarter. Even a quarter is huge. That's still 160 acres. And if you're going to cover that effectively with 2 guys and 2 dogs, you're going to have to really narrow down where you think those birds are going to be. And when you can start doing that, that's when you've actually taken that next step from being just somebody who goes out and kind of kills birds to being a bird hunter. And when you can start, there's nothing more rewarding than that. Like I was telling a lot of people, they're like, oh God, you go all over the place. And I was like, yeah, I kind of get my butt kicked a lot of places. But I can tell you right now with a lot of certainty that I can take you to Arizona. I can identify Mearns quail, Gambel's quail, and a scale quail habitat, and I can put birds in the bag on day one. Doesn't matter if it's the same area I've hunted or not. I know what it looks like, and I know what I'm looking for. I can take you to Kansas. I can put you on bobwhites in a day. I can put you on prairie chickens in a day, and I can put you on pheasants in a day. Like it's just I have that knowledge base to draw off of, and it's really kind of taken everything to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, there's no substitute for time spent in the field.
Time and miles.
Yep. But I go back to what I said before. You can waste a lot of time, and you can maximize a lot of your time too, because everybody has a limited amount of time available. Most of us don't get to leave for 28 days and work through it. So I think, just really being focused on hey, if something isn't working, let's change it.
Don't keep on doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I see guys that go out into the field and they go to the exact same spot they've always gone. They say, well, we did good here 1 year. And they live in that one dream. Well, it could have been that there was a standing plot of corn that brought some birds in, and you don't have corn within, don't have food within.
Or that particular year that everything was perfect conditions right in that spot for nesting.
Yeah.
And the birds boomed, but
moisture, things that a lot of people don't think about. There's so much that goes into a wild critter, where it's going to be and why. And I mean, really just digging into that stuff. But what kind of dogs do you run?
So I got 2 English setters and a short hair. Last year when you were up, we hunted mostly with I only had my setters last year when you were up. Not this past fall, but the fall before. This year when you came up, we hunted. I had my short hair and we hunted with him. And I'll keep feeding that dog.
Oh my gosh. It was everything inside of me not to bring that dog home with me.
I know.
That dog.
We would have fought. I like that dog a lot.
Where'd you get him? What's his name?
His name's Bo. I got him for giveaway, actually, from a friend of mine. A friend of mine breeds German short hairs in North Dakota. Just like everything good that's happened to me in life, this wasn't planned, and it was totally by mistake. And the way he put it, so he sold the dog as a puppy to a guy, and the guy got into a car wreck and couldn't hunt anymore, and he gave him back to my friend George. And George called me, and the way he put it still cracks me up. He's like, hey, do you want a low-mileage short hair? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he kind of told me the story, and I said, well, did it come out of your dogs? And he said, yeah. I'd seen his dogs. I'd hunted with them, and they were good dogs. And I said, how about this? I said, the dog was 14 months old when I got him, and I don't think he knew his name. I really don't. And I said, how about I keep him this is after Thanksgiving, late November. I said, let me keep him for the rest of the season. We'll see what he does. If he shows anything at all, I said, I'll keep him. Otherwise, I'll give him back to you, and then you can find somebody who doesn't hunt for a home. Because, I mean, I would after like 3 days, I was like, first of all, I'll just keep you because you're cool. But on the way home that day, we're driving.
You can't give that dog back.
No, not a chance.
I mean, the second I met that dog, I was like,
he's got those big, sweet, dumb eyes. He's a really nice dog, and he loves me. But on the way home that day, I turned off Highway 2, heading up to my farm. And I saw a covey of Huns just kind of scurry into the edge of a cattail slough, and I was like, well, let's just go see what happens, And so I took him out there, and the wind was blowing pretty good right at us, and like 50 yards away, that dog locked up on point, and I was like, well, that's something, I guess, and he stood there steady enough. I don't think he'd ever smelt a bird before, like at all. And it was just complete instincts. He didn't know what he was smelling, he'd never smelled Hungarian partridge before. And I walked past him, and then birds went up, and I tripled. And he went and retrieved every one of those birds to hand. I called my buddy George from the field, and I said, you're not getting this dog back. And he's like, what happened? I told him the whole story. He's like, that's incredible. I was like, yeah, man, like I can't believe this just happened. And so that was kind of the high point of that season for him, just because I had such low expectations and he blew him out of the water immediately. But within a week, he was figuring out how to handle running pheasants. I took him to Kansas and Arizona last winter, and he figured out how to hunt quail, and he just figured it all out. And I mean, that's a dog, man. He is a.
Well, do you think a man makes the dog or the dog makes the man?
I think opportunities make the dog.
Yeah.
I mean, just any kind of dog with good breeding. If you put him into a situation like that, where, I mean, in the course of 6 weeks after I got him, he probably saw 1,000 wild birds. Mm-hmm. You know,
there's something to be said about just where that dog is running. If he's running in a field that has 2 birds in a section,
right.
You know,
you have to help him.
Yeah.
But there is, I'm a firm believer in the fact that there is X number of birds for an individual dog that will teach that dog how to hunt, and it's different for every dog. But I just kept on just pouring that dog into wild birds, and yeah, he'd mess up a lot, you know, but he'd learn, and you could just tell that he didn't want those birds to win. And this year, so I have a friend who's a trainer over in Montana who took him, and I said, all I want you to do with this dog is just get him well broke for me, because I have another young dog, CJ, my little setter, who is 2.
The fur missile?
She just turned 2, and she's, you know, so I was working with her last summer, and having a whole extra dog in the mix was like, it was kind of overwhelming, really. And I wanted to go fishing, but so I just said, all I want you to do for me is just well break him. It took him about 3 weeks. It was no big deal. And when he came back, I started running in North Dakota. You can start running training on wild sharptails. I think it's July 15th. I always wait until like mid-August. It's a really good opportunity to go out and get your legs in shape, get the dogs back in shape, and there's no consequences, right? So, I mean, you're out there and you're working these wild birds, and you're actually paying attention to the dog. You're not paying attention to trying to get into the position to shoot a bird. You're not watching any of that stuff, so you can really see what the dog's doing. And so is what I would do is if he bumped sharptails, I would make him stop to flush. I'd make him stand there and watch those birds fly away. He wasn't going to go chase them anymore. We took all that away from him. I had him on a check cord. I'd just make him stand there and hold the cord. And then after the bird was way gone, I mean, you know how sharptails are. When they go, they go.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and they're not going to. They're not going to sit back down where he can see him most of the time. And then after that, I'd release the check cord, and you know, we're not gonna go that way. We're gonna go this way. We're gonna go and find some other birds. And he was having a hard time handling those sharptails in August. And opening day of season, it was like just game day player. You know, like he got the last walk of the day. It was in the 80s. It was hot, and it was a Hun spot. And he pointed a covey of birds, and he stood there while a deer got up in front of him and ran away, and while 2 other dogs got in front of him. And the birds were like 30 yards ahead of him, and he just never twitched, never moved a muscle, and we shot 5 on the covey rise.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think, you know, not everybody has the opportunity to introduce their dogs to what you can put them in, but it just shows that when you invest the time into your dog, because a lot of people, their dog lays around in the house, and then opening day they take them out and say, go get him.
They expect a lot.
And then they're disappointed.
Right.
And say, well, you know, I think we owe it to our dogs to spend that time with them, just like we would with any
other friends, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, you can't expect a guy who shoots his gun 5 shells a year to go out there and knock it out of the park every time. It just doesn't happen.
Right.
With dogs, the best thing that a person can do is just put in a little bit of time on your research and go and actually see the other dogs that come out of that kennel. Spend some time in the field with them, because that's what's in those dogs genetically. You can't change that. You can alter it a little bit is all you can do with it, but you're playing with the hand that you're dealt, basically.
Yeah.
And so if you can spend that little bit extra time just doing some research on the front end of it, it's going to save you tons of time in the end. And you're going to have a dog that's ready to get out of the box and go and find birds. And yeah, they're going to mess up. They're dogs, you know, but just put them in a situation where they can excel.
Yeah. Moving from the dogs a little bit to some of the people you've hunted with, when we hunted together the very first time, you introduced me to a man that I've still stayed in touch with, one of your good buddies, Craig Jones is his name. And you sent me a message just before our hunt. You said, do you mind? I've got a buddy that's going to be staying with me. Do you mind if he hunts with us? And I said, yeah, sure. What's his story? And you told me his story, and it just about knocked me over.
Yeah.
And so he had suffered a seizure the fall before and found out that he had brain cancer.
Yep. Stage 4 glioblastoma.
Oh, it was brutal. And so he basically said, the doctors gave him like
6 months to a year.
Yeah.
And so at that point, he was actually on his way down to meet me in Arizona when he had his seizure. And thank God he wasn't driving, because it was bad. He actually died a couple times in the hospital, and they brought him back. He was joking around. He was like, "Yeah, they weren't ready for me in heaven." And knowing Craig, they're not. But so last year, the fall of 2018, I guess is what it would have been. That's what that season became about. We started talking every day. I mean, he had to have a surgery. It was hard for him just to learn how to walk again, not let alone shoot. And he put himself on this incredible journey of just rehabilitation. And his goal was, I am going to do every hunt that I wanted to do, and I'm going to do it this year. And so I told the people that work for me, I was like, here's the deal. I'm gone. This is way more important than anything else in life for me right now. And he came up, I think he came up in July, and we started just running dogs and having fun. And then he took his kids and his family on a big trip, and he was back at my place in September. We hunted sharptails in North Dakota, sharptails and huns. Then we went to Montana, hunted sage grouse, sharptails, and blue grouse. And then came back, hunted with you in North Dakota. I came to Michigan. We hunted rough grouse. Then we hunted South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona. And we ended our season last year. I'm going to tonight at the film festival for Pheasant Fest, they're going to show a film that's part of the episode that we did, and this is exactly what I'm going to talk about when I get up before the film starts. Is what we're going to show, or what you guys are going to show in that one little film, is such a teeny portion of what last year actually was.
Yeah.
I mean, we started, literally in the course of 365 days from the lowest to lows, getting this news, realizing that. As he says in the film, in the episode, it still breaks my heart that he's not going to outlive his bird dog, who's his best friend, to hunting all these different species, all the way back to the exact same spot that he was supposed to be in the year before when he got diagnosed. On top of a mountain in Arizona, hunting Mearns quail, having a glass of bourbon. And it was all within a year. And
He did it.
he did it. He made it. And
Were you standing up there next to him?
oh, yeah. And I had pneumonia. I didn't feel good at all. But every day I was down there. So when we were on our way down there, I severely sprained my ankle in Kansas. And you've hunted in Arizona enough to know that there's no step that's stable.
Yeah.
I probably rolled my ankle a dozen times down there.
What in the
world?
world?
It was terrible. But I was like, I'm hunting every day with this guy, because he's not going to be around much longer.
Yeah.
And he's still here today. He's in a lot worse shape than he has been. He didn't really get to hunt much this year. He came out to my place in September. We shot some mourning doves. Tried to do a September hunt over in Montana, but the weather was just so hot that we couldn't do it. But he did get out a little bit. He shot a black bear in Michigan in Canada this spring. But it's starting to take a toll on him. He's starting to kind of go down.
Doctors gave him 6 to 12 months, and he's at about 24.
He's a tough man.
He's a tough son of a gun.
Yes,
What
he
is
is.
it's a tough topic, and I've talked to Craig recently too, and it's tough to see what that's done to him.
It's tough to just hear it.
Yeah.
You can hear it in his voice.
Yeah. What spending that kind of time with him, what has it taught you about life and what you try to do each day?
Well, you just have to just go do it. I mean, there are things in life that, like Ron would say, none of us are going to get out alive, right? So it's the way that I look at life is it's a collection of stories. It's not the end goal of whatever. It's I want to enjoy everything I can right now, whether it's flying to North Carolina or going fishing or sitting here talking to you guys or coming to Pheasant Fest, whatever it is. Those trips, like other things can wait sometimes, and we don't look at it that way enough. we kind of get stuck in this mindset that, we have to keep going, doing this so we can get to this. Like the whole retirement mentality doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to work super hard. I'm going to work 80 hours a week so that when I'm older and I'm not in the best shape and maybe I make it, maybe I don't, but then I'm going to go and do all these trips.
Right.
Do those trips now. Take that time now, because Craig was 45 years old when he got diagnosed. He just had his 47th birthday just a couple days ago. I sent him a text message and he said, I wish I was down there with you guys. And I said, there's nothing that we wish more. And, 47 years old isn't old. I'm 36. I mean, it just, there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
So you're not going to be laying on your deathbed when you're 90 years old saying, you know what, I'm glad I went to work that day. We all have to go to work sometime, even me. But you are going to be laying on your deathbed when you're 90 years old saying, do you remember that trip that we took to Kansas or Arizona or wherever? You're going to remember that more than you're going to remember a day that you didn't skip work. If
you had to pick just one bird that you could hunt or one place that you could hunt it, where would it be and why?
I can't answer that question, sir. I'm
many options.
I'm going to give you 1A and 1B.
Okay.
It's going to be Huns in North Dakota, Mearns quail in Arizona.
Yeah.
Those are the two. If somebody came up and held a gun to my head, I don't know which one I'd say.
Really?
Like, it's that close. I love the Mearns quail a lot.
I'm fortunate to be able to say that I've hunted both, and I understand why you say that. They're both extremely challenging.
Yeah.
The covey explosion of a covey is different than a pheasant.
I got
a lot of people.
I got a YouTube video that I'm going to show you in a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll knock your socks off.
Oh gosh, yeah. I can't wait. Well, that episode, actually, that flush episode with Craig and our experience 3 days in North Dakota in your family farm that's been in now 4 generations, I believe.
5, actually.
5.
Yeah.
We spent a day there. We hunted some other properties that other people can hunt. We met Craig, an amazing man. I got to meet you, an amazing man.
Yep.
And now I follow you and I admire what it is that you do. So that episode is on our YouTube channel right now. It's basically, I believe it's titled Fighting Cancer in the Uplands.
I think that's what it is.
And it's been a real privilege to have you on. I love your podcast, Birds,
Thanks, man.
Booze, and Buds.
Yes, sir.
I'm fortunate that I can say that I've been on it a couple times.
You're going to be on it again in just a little bit, too.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We get to talk about life in the uplands, and I consider that a real honor. I hope that we can talk to you more. There's so much more that you have up in that brain.
124 days.
124 days of upland bird hunting in one season, and we only got to spend about 40 minutes talking about it. But I want to do it again.
Anytime.
I appreciate your time today. And Tyler Webster, Birds, Booze, and Buds podcast, and appreciate your time today. We got to set up our next hunt together.
We got to figure it out.
Yep, it'll happen. All right, thank you.
Thanks, bud.